Hello, my name is Sonia Morales and today I'm going to present my thesis project. The title is Exploring Internal and External Factors of English Language Teachers, the case of two regional campuses at a public university. Table of contents. We're going to revise some parts of each chapter. Chapter 1, Aim of the Study and Research Questions. Chapter 2, ELT, Teacher Cognition and Teaching English in a Mexican Public Higher Education. Chapter 3, Context, Participants, and Methods of Data Collection. Aim of the study. The purpose of this qualitative case study is to research EFL teachers' perspectives on the internal and external factors they have encountered during their teaching practice at two regional campuses, part of a Mexican public university. Internal factors include age, motivation, personality, and work experience, and external factors are related to facilities, equipment, school policies, and others. Research questions. There are two research questions in this case study. The first one, what are the internal factors English as a foreign language instructors have encountered when teaching English at a regional campus of a public university? And the second, what are the external factors English as a foreign language instructors have faced when teaching English at a regional campus of a public university? The literature review is divided in three parts. First, ELT, then teacher cognition, and finally, teaching English in Mexican public higher education. English language teaching field. ELT appeared during the 50s as a field of study of applied linguistics. It was because of the growth of the area that a classification was needed. So Hutchinson and Waters created an ELT tree. There are three main branches. So the first one is English as a mother tongue, the second English as a foreign language, and finally English as a second language. EFL is also divided into parts, English for specific purposes and general English. For the purpose of this study, we're going to concentrate on the general English branch. The definition is the following. This is the English language education at school levels where the students are made familiar with the structural grammatical elements of English language to pass the exams. Some characteristics of general English are, first, the four language skills are emphasized. Then, general English offers the foundations to learn ESP. And finally, the content is hard to choose because students' needs are unpredictable. Teacher cognition. This is a controversial concept because there are several terms that refer to the same idea. So Pajares provided an extensive list of those terms, which include values, judgments, actions, opinions, ideology, perceptions, among many others. Borg defines teacher cognition as the unobservable cognitive dimension of teaching, what teachers know, believe, and think. Borg divides teacher cognition in three parts. First, cognition and prior language learning experience refer to all the knowledge learners acquire in formal education. Cognition and teacher education have to do with the possibilities of changing teachers' beliefs after taking educational training courses. And finally, cognition and classroom practice are associated with how teachers' beliefs are implemented in the classroom. Teachers' belief sources. There are 5 sources. First, teachers' experience as language learners, experience from teaching, teachers' own personality, experience from the school, parents, the government, and the local society, and education-based or research-based principles. The significance of researching the topic. According to some authors, it's important to explore the topic because we need to understand the correlation between what teachers think and what they do in their classrooms. The complexity of changing beliefs. According to Guyen, a change in structures beliefs is hard because it requires teachers' time and effort. Teachers need to know what to do and how to make those changes. So the process is gradual and slow. Teachers' beliefs are also influenced by internal and external factors. External factors are related to environment and internal factors are teachers' perceptions. Buell and Beck recommend to study the topic using an ecological approach to explain how these factors function within a system. Samuel created a beliefs framework based on the existing literature. So they classified the most common topics as follows. First, teachers' beliefs about themselves. For example, beliefs about their identities or their role as teachers. The second, teachers' beliefs regarding context or environment. The following, teachers' beliefs related to content or knowledge, teachers' beliefs about specific teaching practices, teachers' beliefs about teaching approaches, and finally, teachers' beliefs related to students. This study takes place in Mexican public higher education. So according to Ramiro Romero and Pamplon, it was until the 90s when Mexican higher education institutions implemented teacher training programs, forums, and created educational associations. Nowadays, the situation is different. Mexican universities establish their language entrance requirements, and they also offer EFL courses for different purposes. So, as I was explaining, the setting of my study is a public university, and this public university is known as a macro university. So macro universities are large national institutions in charge of professional teaching, scientific research, and outreach to society in general, as they, through the state, took over the management of all of their sources of funding. In the past, some public universities were located in the cities. So people living in remote areas couldn't afford moving to the city to study. So that created inequalities. And it was until the 70s when Latin American universities began a process of expansion into those smaller communities. And that process is known as regionalization. Previous research on teachers' perspectives about teaching English in rural, semi-rural, or regional context. Information regarding the Mexican context is not available. However, I decided to look for articles related to the topic in other countries. For example, the first one took place in regional Victoria, Australia, the second in Indian rural colleges, and the last one in Indonesian rural areas. To summarize the main findings, we can say that teachers and principals advocated for additional resources. Teachers complained about the lack of appropriate facilities. English teaching is done through learners' mother tongue. There is unqualified teaching staff, and the instructional approach is teacher-centered because of the lack of resources. Methodology. This is a case study. So Creswell defines a case study as the study of an issue explored through one or more cases within a bounded system. It means that those cases share a setting or a context. The instruments suggested to collect data are observations and interviews. However, other authors mention less common instruments to collect data. For example, journal keeping, think aloud techniques, repertory grid techniques, and metaphor elicitation. This study takes place in a macro public university. So I'm going to study two campuses. The first one is in the northeast of the state, and the second in the southeast of the state. Participants' demographic information. There are 5 participants in this study. 2 of them are part of the Northeast campus, and the rest are part of the Southeast campus. There are 4 female participants and 1 male. Regarding their qualifications, they hold bachelor's degrees in modern languages or ELT, and they also hold master's degrees in different areas. In the case of the teaching experience in higher education, the maximum of years are 6 and the minimum 3. The participants teach lengua extranjera courses from level 1 to level 4. Methods of data collection. So I'm going to use 2 instruments. The first one are going to be interviews. So the interview is adapted from Loft. It's going to be adapted from Loft and Roerich model. There are 7 questions in that model. And the second instrument is going to be a focus group. So I'm going to adapt the questions from a Johnson, Kraft, and Papai model questionnaire. It's important to highlight that Johnson and the other authors created their questionnaire based on the Massachusetts Teaching, Learning, and Leading Survey. Expected results. Based on previous research, external factors such as lack of resources and appropriate facilities could be the most influential aspects of teaching EFL in regional higher education settings. Thank you for your attention. That's all.